When I was in the 10th grade, I had a teacher by the name of Mrs. Bernstein. Man, this lady was amazing. Like, every time that I walked off on campus, I wanted to see Mrs. Bernstein. In fact, when she wasn't on campus, I kind of missed her. And, I can't say that about a lot of my teachers, but I can say that about her. Why? Because every time I would walk through the hallway, man, Mrs. Bernstein was that person that, man, she'd give you a high five. She'd give you a smile. She'd compliment me on my jeans, whatever I was wearing, She really made me feel important. A lot of teachers didn't do that. They just didn't take the time. And I understand a lot of times teachers are busy. But I really did appreciate her. And I had her for a class. I had her for algebra. And we had like this thing called block scheduling. So I didn't have her every day. But I wish I did. But every other day I had her, and I would show up on to her class, and I didn't even know a lot of the information in the class. Remember, in middle school, I was bullied. And so in math class, man, I didn't learn anything. I had my bully in my class. And because of that, it was like an unstable environment. So I didn't learn very much. In fact, I failed a lot of my classes. So Mrs. Bernstein took her time with me. She shared extra information, but I was still failing. And then one day she called me up to the front of the class, and I'll never forget this. It was crazy. And the reason why was because everybody was doing a test, and she called me to the front. And it was weird because everybody was testing. It was quiet. And then she called me to the front. And she says, she was talking to me, but she said it loud enough to where people heard. I was kind of embarrassed. She's like, I want to talk to you after class. Go back to your seat. See me after class. I thought the whole room was going to be like, ooh, remember, like somebody dropped their plate in the lunchroom or something, right? I really felt that. I felt embarrassed. I came after class and I talked to her, and she said to me this. She asked me a question. She goes, why have you given up? I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. She goes, yeah, I have an idea. I think I know why. I think you're hurting. In fact, I know you're hurting. I've dealt with students all my life. And she's a veteran teacher. She obviously knew her stuff. And she was good with students. And so she said, I know you're hurting. And I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about, Mrs. Bernstein. Like, I really don't understand what you're trying to go. She goes, I've dealt with students. Come on, tell me what it is. And I'll never forget, because she was the one that actually got me to talk. She got me to say exactly what went on in middle school. She said, come on, let's sit down, let's talk. And the reason why she got me to talk was because she already made some deposits in my life. That's what she was doing. Every time she gave me a high five in the hallway, she made a deposit in my life. And then when she talked to me the way she did, she kind of made me lose face. Culturally, she made me lose face. I could have definitely walked down and said, I ain't giving you another try. I'm out of here. I hate school. My teacher hates me, But yet, I let her talk to me that way. Why? She had made deposits in my life, and it was time for her to take a withdrawal. And I let her. In fact, it's kind of like somebody has done something for you, but there's enough trust there that it's okay. They're not taking advantage of you or the situation, but they've built up enough trust. She did 3 E's with me. And I want to share those 3 E's with you today. The first E is she empathized with me. She did. She empathized with me. And let me just tell you, there's nothing like somebody like hearing what you're saying and really affirming what happened. When she empathized with me, she's like, Fabian, I'm so sorry that happened to you in middle school. I'm so sorry that when you went to math class, you couldn't pay attention because the person that was picking on you was in the room. I'm so sorry that happened. And then she did the second E, which is just to encourage. She encouraged me. She's like, Fabian, why don't you come after school? I want to show you something. And we were in algebra class, so we were going over something called the Quadratic Formula. And let me tell you something about the Quadratic Formula. It's one of the hardest formulas you'll ever have to learn in algebra. I mean, I would see the formula and I was like, man, I'm not even gonna give it a try. It was just so difficult to put on paper. They give you the variables and all that, but you still have to know the formula. I said, I don't know the formula. She was, come after school, I want to show you something. So I came after school, and Mrs. Bernstein, she showed me how to do it using a song called Pop Goes the Weasel. And I know it's cheesy, and even back then, I was trying to be all hardcore, because that's what you do. You're all hardcore, because if you're not smart, this is the way I thought, because I wasn't smart, I wanted to be hardcore, right? And so I learned Pop Goes the Weasel, and I came back the next day, and I told Mrs. Bernstein, I learned the quadratic formula using Pop Goes the Weasel. She was like, really? Yeah. I want you to teach the class today. And I was like, what? No, I don't want to teach a class today. She was like, yeah, I want you to teach the class. And after thinking about it for a little bit, and I was nervous, I said, okay, I'll do it. I'll teach the class. And I was all nervous during class. And the time came when it was time to finally go over the quadratic formula. And I went up to the class, and I'll never forget, because I grabbed that piece of chalk, that long chalk, and I broke it in half because I hate using the full thing because it gets your hand all chalky, right? And I remember walking up to the whiteboard, and I told the class, all right, y'all better listen up. I'm only going to do this once, right? Try to take over the class. And then I started to write the quadratic formula. But in my head, I was singing Pop Goes the Weasel. In fact, I want to go ahead and do that for you today, because here I am 16 years later, and I still know how to do it. Hey guys, do you guys have something that I can write on? Just like a marker or something?
Yeah, Fabian needs a slate. No slate.
Yeah, that'll work. Sweet. Okay. Yeah, does the marker work?
Yeah, it works great.
Sweet. Awesome. Appreciate it, Frank. All right, here's what we're going to do. Watch this. Quadratic formula using Pop Goes the Weasel. Ready? Here we go. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Isn't that cool? Like, here I am 16 years later, and I still know how to do the quadratic formula using Pop Goes the Weasel. In fact, now you can use Journey. Don't stop believing. All right. Watch this. Ready? X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root and b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Dun, 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 don't stop believe. All right. I'm kind of getting into it there. So, but anyway, I wanted to show you that because that's very important. Here I am 16 years later, and I still know how to do the quadratic formula. You want to know why? Because what Mrs. Bernstein did, she didn't just tell me the answer, which is really easy to do. A lot of teachers do that. In fact, a lot of people just Google search whatever answer, or they look in the back of the book, textbook, to get the answer. But you don't learn that way. The best way to do it is to empower somebody. Whenever I deal with students who have been bullied, I could tell them to go report. I'd rather show them how to solve their own issues. And the best way to do that is by using the golden rule. I want to teach you something today that was just phenomenal for me. The reason why I teach students the golden rule is because it was very pivotal in my life. And I believe if they learn it, they will learn how to respond to bullies. And that's what we want. The golden rule is to treat others the way you want to be treated. Whenever I speak to students, I always bring a child up on stage and I ask them this question: what's the golden rule? And it's amazing how many already know it. It's to treat others the way you want to be treated. So then I'll say, okay, well, how do you like to be treated? And sometimes they'll say good, kind, but the number one response that I get is with respect. And I'm like, okay, so if you're going to implement the golden rule, you're going to treat others with what? They'll say with respect. I'm like, that's right. It's amazing how they'll get it. That's why the golden rule is the number one way that they can respond to bullies. See, the reason why the golden rule is so important is because when you implement it, you become a leader on campus. I mean, you really do. Because people love to be around people who are respectful and to treat them with love, with kindness. It's an attraction, right? People are attracted to other people who are loving towards others and who respect other people. In fact, once you start doing it in the classroom, like, your teachers will start to respect you differently. They'll talk to you differently and they'll treat you a lot different, which is really amazing. So to implement it, this is very simple. The next time you walk through those doors, you automatically treat others the way you want to be treated, right? So everywhere you go, you treat people with respect. You treat people nice. Because it's our job to train people how you want to be treated. See, if somebody bullies you, it's because they're not trained on how you want to be treated. So it's your job to train them. If they treat you bad, it's because you haven't trained them that you would like to be treated with respect. And so that's why I'm like, it's our job really to train people of how we want to be treated. Yeah, there's going to be people that don't like you, but you should always live in such a way where even your enemies respect you. See, the number one thing that I've learned about bullying is that you can't change bullies. A lot of times it's like, yeah, let's just change the bully. It just doesn't happen, doesn't work. That's why the golden rule is so important, because you can't change how people treat you. The only thing that you can change is your response of how people treat you. And that's what the golden rule is. It's a response to how people treat you. See, when somebody treats you bad, they're trying to get in your head, right? Remember, bullying is psychological. It messes with your mind. And so you need to use a psychological solution in order to combat it. And that's why the golden rule works. You treat me bad, I treat you with respect, you're going to leave me alone. Why? Because it's hard to be mean to someone who's always nice to you. So I challenge you. The next time someone bullies you, you look for a way to show respect, love, and kindness towards that person. And I guarantee you, you're going to have success, and you're going to win over your enemies, and you're actually going to make them a friend.